One of the things that's so undiagnosed and it needs to be so talked about is addiction with narcissistic abuse. I can't tell you how many people either relapse, overdose, or stay in active addiction because they're in a narcissistic relationship. Why? Because they need something to cope. They need something to numb. They need something to keep their mental health in check. And so they go to addiction because the narcissist gaslighting will twist and turn your thoughts so much where you start doubting yourself, questioning yourself. You start breaking down, you start working harder, try to go back to the old original stage of the honeymoon stage. You do so many things to try and come back to norm, come back to peace, come back to love, come back to harmony. And when the narcissist sees how hard you're doing, they're harder trying to get you to break down. And so what happens? A lot of people go back to addiction. Sober alcoholics start drinking again. Clean addicts start picking up drugs again, because they need something to cope with and they can't see or don't know it's the narcissist that's making them want to get a clutch, to get something to numb out with. A lot of people start gaining a lot of weight because they start binge eating in order to shut down the pain that's trying to assert itself. So, and I've done this. I mean, I remember in my narcissistic abusive relationship not knowing that I was in a narcissistic abusive relationship. And I'm telling you, I used to eat boxes of cereal just to comatose myself to sleep because I couldn't sleep. The minute the narc went to sleep, I tried to go sleep. That's when my brain would start spinning, thinking, trying. It's like a computer trying to constantly download. It's like, which is the truth? The abuse or the love? The kindness or the abuse? Which is the truth? And I'm here to tell you that it is not the love. The love is just the grooming of the abuse. The real monster, the real abusive person is when the mask slips, is when they're being abusive. That's the real person. And that's why so many people go back to narcissistic relationships, because they ultimately believe that there's good in that person. And the addiction, whether it's food, alcohol, drugs, whatever the addiction is, they are holding on to the addiction so that they can stay in the relationship, because ultimately they're afraid to be alone and afraid to be wrong and afraid to let the narc go to someone else and find happiness and love, and they couldn't find it with that person. So addiction is huge. I see so many people can't get off drugs, can't get off alcohol, can't stop binge eating, can't stop whatever other addiction, dissociation. They can't do it because they're still in that relationship, and then they leave the narc, go through the withdrawals, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they can stay sober. They've got a year, they've got 2 years, they've got 5 years, and so on and so on. But also what happens is a lot of overdoses are caused by narcissistic abuse, because what happens is this person, the addiction, as it progresses, so does the abuse. And it just takes one time to take a lethal dose and overdose and die. And what happens in the world today, we are so quick to say he or she was just an addict and they overdosed. Well, if you really look at the relationships they're in, the people they're in, what they're enduring, the gaslighting, the devaluation, the discard, the cheating, the lying, the betrayal, we don't look at all that. None of that is on the report. What's on the report is that they took too much, drank too much, and mixed some kind of drugs. But really, they're using to cope because they are being constantly gaslit and abused. And if you have someone, know someone, if you are that someone that has had addictions, I want you to not get stuck in the shame of your addiction. Rather look at what you're drinking and using over. What relationship is so difficult that you feel like in order to constantly come on top, you got to be drinking, using, and checking out. And if you know someone that is using or drinking, instead of instead of shaming them into sobriety, instead of shaming them for relapsing or pushing them away like they're the throwaways of the world, I want you to really look and ask them, are you being abused? Are you being hurt? Are you being emotionally abused? Or have you been cheated on? Because that's probably why they're still drinking and using.